since I did any videos, so today's Sunday. I got a skim of ice on the pond, so just kind of going over some stuff here with the Lowrance. One of the things with a mapping feature, I'm not sure a lot of people use, is the Insight Genesis, now called CMaps. So the last lake I went to and fished, I downloaded a map from CMaps. Used to be Insight Genesis, and they're much more detailed. You can see right here when you go into chart options, all right, that I have my chart source set to Highland Lake right now. You go back, you switch, let's take a look at Lowrance, and you can see that there's much less detail on the built-in maps that come with the unit. So again, if you haven't already checked out CMaps, go to you can Google Insight Genesis if you're used to using that, or you can go to CMaps. I think it's cmaps.com, but anyway, you'll find it if you Google it. Sign up for a subscription. You can make your own charts as you're out on the water, which I've done before in the past, but you can also get ones that other people have made and chose to make them social maps that the public can download. You can save yours private, but if you make them, I chose to share mine that I've made in the past. So if I go back to Highland Lake, you can see that there's much more detail, and as you zoom in on this, all right, you guys all know that as you zoom in, right, your contour lines get tighter and tighter and tighter, and you get more detail. All right, well, one of the things that I like to do with Insight Genesis or my CMaps on my Lowrance units is to use custom charting. So, you go back and you go to chart options, view. Well, right here you've got shading. And one of the things I like to do with mine, if I know the fish are biting, we'll take a scenario here again from the shading menu option. Notice you've got depth 1 and depth 2, all right, and you can customize, all right, your maps for various depths. So let's say that we've got a scenario where we go in and we know that the smallmouth are feeding in depths of 15 to 20 feet right now. So if you haven't done this in the past, or if you deleted everything else, you just simply go to add point, depth. All right, you're going to set your depth right here, and make sure you look at where your cursor is. So let's say we want our first depth to be 15 feet. Again, the scenario was we got smallmouth biting in 15 to 20 feet of water. All right, then you can choose your color. But at this point, what we want to do is we want to have everything that is 15 feet or less not even be shaded. So the color doesn't matter, but come over here to opacity, all right, and make that 0. All right, and click OK. All right, so that's going to make everything 15 feet and less not even be shaded. So next we want to go from 15 feet. So again, depth. Look at where your cursor is. Use the arrow buttons to get where you need to be. 1.5. Okay. And let's say I want to choose red. So I choose red. Now I'm going to leave the opacity at 100% because I want that to be red. All right. Next, what we want to do is we said we wanted to go 15 to 20 feet. So add point. And again, line up your cursor, 20 feet. Okay. Again, we're going to use red. So this is going to shade, we're going to shade everything from 15 to 20 feet in red. Leave the opacity at 100%, sorry. All right, say OK. And now, if we want to only shade that 15 to 20 feet, right, like we talked about, what you want to do is the same thing. Everything above that we want to have unshaded. So anything deeper than 20 feet, we don't want to shade. We're looking at that 5-foot range that we want to focus in, 15 to 20 feet on our map, and save a lot of, running around the lake. So again, we're going to choose up here in our depth. We're going to make that 20. Okay. And again, the color is not going to matter because we're simply going to come down here and make that opacity 0 and say okay, and there we go. Alright, so now if you close this, and notice again we just customized depth 1. So now if you come back to your map, nothing is shaded, but you can see right even in here we have some 15 to 20 foot range. I'll zoom in a little bit. Alright, and you can see right here that we've got that 15 to 20. Now we just customized, alright, the shading palette, if you will, depth 1. So we want to turn that on. Right now it's turned off. We touch it and we turn it on, and you can see instantly that that 15 to 20 foot range, right, is shaded. So you can, do this for any depths that you want, but it's definitely a good feature when you utilize CMaps. And it works, I believe, with the Navionics. I got to go in and check that out. But I tend to, download my maps from CMaps. They're much more accurate. They're much more detailed. They're generated by fishermen. You can just go out and record your sonar logs like I've done. I did one for Shirley Lake. I know that'll probably interest some people. And you can go out. I made it public. You can download that, and you can use that map. And I think it pretty much includes the whole lake except for a few sections. But at any rate, it's there. You just have to do a search in the social maps and you'll see it. Alright, you can also go back in, and let's say we also want to, shade. We did 15 to 20 feet, and if you found out that they were deeper on some humps or something that you found in, I don't know, let's say you found some humps in 30 feet, you can do the same thing again, custom. Alright, this time we're going to customize this palette. We're going to add a point, and we're going to say that we want to shade anything 30 feet to 40. So again, choose your depth. Alright, scroll over, 30, okay. And we want to make this a different color. So, I don't know, let's choose green. Oops. Where is that? Green. Okay, now, just cancel that. So again, what you want to do is remember that 30-foot range. If you want it green, all right, you want everything else below that at an opacity of 0. We don't want that shaded. We only want 30 and above. So you say okay. All right, add a point, go back. Oops. Again, we don't want that there. We got to come over, 30. Okay, choose the same color. Now we're going to have the opacity set to 100%. Add a point. Let's say we're going to look at from 30 to 40. So again, depth, 40. All right, we're going to make it the same color. Opacity 100% because we want that shaded. All right, and then finally, anything above 40, we don't want it, or I should say deeper than 40. We don't want that shaded. So again, because we don't want it shaded, the color doesn't matter, but we come back here to opacity, set that to 0, say okay. Alright, so now we have two depth palettes, depth color palettes. So you can see I only have depth 1 turned on right now, And let's zoom in a little bit, get some more detailed depths here. You can see we've got some 30, right in here, all the way up to 30 to 35 right in this section. So if I turn on both depth 1 and depth 2, that section that I just colored as green, 30, above 30 to 35, is now green. You zoom out on your map, and you have those two areas color shaded, so you can focus on those areas and not drive around the whole lake looking. So if this helps, great. I'm going to do it when I have a little bit better lighting and I can take my time a little bit more, but just had some time this morning to fart around a little bit. Check them out, you know, Insight Genesis, now CMaps. And if I post this up to YouTube, I will put the links to those sites. There are some free subscription, but basically you just get to view the maps. You want to be able to download them. You have to sign up for a subscription. I think it's reasonable. Then you have to register your Lowrance HDS devices or whatever devices you plan to use. Doesn't have to be Lowrance. Then you can download those maps. If you know how to download them and save them to a micro SD card, which most people do, then you simply just insert those in a micro SD slot, and again, back on chart options, choose the particular map that you downloaded, and you will have a much more detailed map, and you'll be able to use this color shading feature.